Good evening, everyone. My name is Blake Press, and today we'll be focusing on personal protection equipment, PPE. I will refer to it as PPE throughout the course. And we'll be focusing on hard hat training. A little bit about myself. My name is Blake Press. Like I said, I'll be your trainer today. A little bit of background. My education, I graduated from Holy Cross High School in New Orleans, Louisiana in 2012. And now I'm at Nicholls State University studying safety technology. Some of my experience, I am about to finish my course in SATC 220, which is Safety, Health, and Environmental Training. So that'll give you a little bit of insight about myself. Today's objectives. By the end of today, you should have a knowledge of subpart F, but we're going to focus on the whole section of 132. But subpart F is the training, so I just broke it down into the training. We're gonna state when PPE is necessary, how to properly apply, remove, adjust, and wear your PPE, the proper care and maintenance of your PPE, the training, and at the end of this course there will be a 10-question quiz. Needs assessment. Who does this affect? The employee that is receiving the training, the employer who is advising you to get the specific type of training, the company or companies involved who will benefit from today's training session, and the oil and gas industry as a whole. There are no prerequisites for this course, and this will be a one-day course. Course completion. Upon completion of this course, one should fully understand the CFR citation and training, know how to properly apply, remove, adjust, and wear your PPE. Like I said, hard hat in this case. Remain aware and pay close attention to the details that I give you. And your quiz is based on a pass or fail standard. Pass if you get a 70 or a 7 out of 10. Anything below that, 60 or 66 out of 10, you will fail. If failed, the companies that I have agreed with, they will not pay for the following session or sessions it takes you to complete this course. So I strongly advise that you pay attention and do well on your quiz so your company didn't pay for nothing. And then it's got to come out of your pocket if you do fail. Course breakdown. Like I said, there'll be a 10-question quiz. It'll be 100 points. Your attendance for today will be 100 points. And I will also be looking to see who is paying attention, and will call on anyone at any certain time to see whether or not they are comprehending my material and the material in the subparts. This will be considered participation, and it'll be 100 points as well. So as a whole, the class is worth 300 points. So basically, if you attend, you get 100 points, and pay attention, you get 100 points, and then it's all up to you on the quiz, or test if you will. Okay, before we get started, I got a couple things that I'd like to say. How hard hats protect you. Hard hats protect you by providing the following features: a rigid shell that resists and deflects blows to the head, a suspension system that acts as a shock absorber. Some hats serve as an insulator. Shield your scalp, face, neck, and shoulders from splashes, spills, and drips. And some hats can be modified so you can add face shields, goggles, hoods, or hearing protection to them. So now we're going to get into 29 Code of Federal Relations, CFR 1910.132. It's the training of PPE, hard hat and specifics. Section 1, we're going to cover the application, the employee-owned equipment, and the design of the hard hat. Okay, here we go. Okay, 29 CFR 1910.132 Section A states that protective equipment, including personal protective equipment for eyes, face, head, and extremities, protective clothing, respiratory devices, and protective shields and barriers shall be provided, used, and maintained in a sanitary and reliable condition wherever it is necessary by reason of hazards of processes or environment, chemical hazards, radiological hazards, or mechanical irritants encountered in a manner capable of causing injury, or impairment in the function of any part of the body through absorption, inhalation, or physical contact. This basically means that wherever there is a hazard that can affect your head, well, right now we're focusing on the hard hat. So if it affects your head, then there's something that needs to be done and something that needs to be worn to protect you from having such an injury. Okay. And before we go on to the next slide, I got something I'd like to say. Why head protection is important. Your head is a very delicate part of your body. In and around your head are your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth, and your brain. All of these play a huge factor into you living your life, especially your brain and your eyes. Injuries to the head are very serious, so use your head and wear your hard hat the way it is supposed to be worn and tightly. You never know, it might save your life one day. Okay, employee-owned equipment. 29 CFR 1910.132 Section B states that where employees provide their own protective equipment, the employer shall be responsible to assure its adequacy, including proper maintenance and sanitation of such equipment. So if your company tells you that you're allowed to bring your own PPE, hard hat in this case, you must make sure that your hard hat is properly maintained and safe and sanitary. It is also on the employer, because he seems like he's taking time out of his day to just say, hey, bring whatever you want, you know? So that's basically I think it's the slow way out, but I'd rather give my guys my hard hat and make sure that my hard hat that I'm giving them is safe. Design. 29 CFR 1910.132 Section C states that all personal protective equipment shall be of a safe design and construction for the work to be performed. This means no cracks. Make sure it is sanitary, like I said. It must cover your whole head. It's not to be worn like a hat. It's meant to be worn properly and to protect your head. There's a couple other things I want to say before. Some of the responsibilities that you have as an employee, is that the need for safety helmets to be worn on site should be established by the person in control. But it is on them, but it's also on you. It's to protect you and to make sure that you're safe and you get to go home to your family at night and sleep safely, knowing that, hey, I went through work today and I didn't have any injuries because I did what I was supposed to do and I did it the right way. Employers are responsible, but there's always a possibility that a person may be struck on the head by a falling object, or a person may be struck against the head by something fixed, or an accidental head contact may be made with electrical hazards. I do have, later on, I have the types of hard hats, the classes. I'll state that later. Let's go on to Section 2. Hazard assessment and equipment selection, defective and damaged equipment, and training. Okay. We have hazard assessment and equipment selection. 29 CFR 1910.132 Section D states that the employer shall assess the workplace to determine if the hazards are present or are likely to present, which necessitate the use of personal protective equipment, PPE, hard hat in this case, like I said. Defective and damaged equipment, we talked a little bit about this earlier. It's like if it was cracked or not being worn properly. But this is 29 CFR 1910.132 Section E. It does state that defective or damaged personal protective equipment shall not be used regardless of its condition. If it is broken, throw it away, get another one. It doesn't cost that much. it'll $15-20, and you'll have a safe head, or somewhat safer head. I mean, if a derrick falls on you, you're gonna be injured. You're gonna die regardless, but it will help the process. Training. This is the one we're gonna focus on the most. 29 CFR 1910.132 Section F states that the employer shall provide training to each employee who is required by the section to use PPE. Here are the three classes that I was telling y'all about. Class A hard hats resist impact and penetration and protect against electrical shocks up to 2200 volts. Class B hard hats offer the greatest protection against high voltage shocks and burns up to 20,000 volts. They also save workers from penetration and impact hazards caused by falling or flying objects. Class C, the final is Class C hard hats offer only impact protection and lightweight comfort, but do not provide any protection against electrical hazards. Okay. Here's your test for today. We're gonna go on to the test. And I am going to read these to you because I don't want you to see the answers. So let me get around here. Okay. When is a hard hat required? Let me brighten this up a little bit. Okay, like I was saying, when is a hard hat required? Objects might fall from above, strike employees on the head. There is a potential for employees to bump their heads against fixed objects, and there is a possibility of accidental head contact with electrical hazards. Or D, all of the above. Your answer for this question is D, all of above. Hard hats are tested to withstand how many foot-pounds of impact? A, 10, B, 40, C, 20, or D, 15? Your answer is B, 40. Who is responsible for providing the personal protective equipment? In some cases, here we go. A, your employer. B, your supervisor. C, your coworker, or D, yourself. A, your employer. Okay, number 4, once your employer has provided you with the PPE, you must use it whenever you are at work, even if your job changes. A, true, or B, false? Your answer is false. Who is responsible for maintaining PPE? A, your employer. B, yourself. C, your coworker. D, A and B, or E, A, B, and C? Your answer is A and B, your employer and yourself. Okay, number 6, when working in areas where there is a potential for head injury from falling objects, you should look at the sky every 2 minutes for flying or falling objects, call a colleague to give you a heads up when an object is about to fall. C, wear head protection. D, appoint yourself a personal superhero to whisk you away from falling objects. Your answer is C, wear head protection. Put a little humor in there to spice it up a little bit. Number 7, which of the classes of hard hats in the list below can save you from high voltage shocks as well as provide penetration and impact resistance? A, Class A, B, Class B, C, Class C, or D, both A and B? Your answer is both A and B, Class A and B. Okay, number 8. Which of the following classes of hard hats do not provide any protection against electrical hazards? Class A, Class B, Class C, or Class D? Your answer is Class C. Is it still okay to use a hard hat with a minor crack in its shell? A, true. B, false? False. Did you learn from today's training seminar? Give me some feedback and tell me if you, as a class or as an individual, learned from my training seminar. I thank y'all for having me today, and I appreciate it.